Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. I've caught up with Tom Abraham James today, CEO of Conico. This is quite a nice exploration story with projects in Greenland. We talked through the Greenland issue, what their field plan is for this year and how that's funded, and also a little bit about Tom's track record, which is not too shabby either. So if you want our thoughts and opinions on the conversation, topics discussed, the company itself, you can find that at cruxinvestor.com. And we'd love your feedback too. So do give us a like, leave your thoughts below. We'll get back to everyone. And if you want to see precisely what we talked about with Tom, take a look in the description below. Thomas, how are you, sir?
Hi, really nice to see you again, Matt. I'm doing very well, thank you. So greetings, I'm back in Reykjavik again in Iceland and just returned from Greenland. So it has begun. It's been a very busy time.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, obviously we saw you a few months ago. We saw you, middle of March, something like that?
That sounds right.
Yeah, not bad. And so you've raised a little bit of money. You've got your permits for, to now do what? What was the permissions?
Yeah, so we took in some extra cash, and that was really the opportunity for the company to expand on its field activities this year. So we'd already committed to doing the drilling at our Ryberg project, but with the opening up of Greenland, the ability to do more work, we really took that opportunity to raise the extra capital so that we could expand, and the main thing being to do additional geophysics at our project. So we took that, and yeah, it all went very smoothly with our applications to be able to do field work this year at both our Mestisvik and Ryberg projects. That process of getting approvals was very smooth, and the company is now fully permitted. And so having that in hand, we then took the opportunity as soon as the Greenland border opened to go immediately there. So having just returned from Mestisvik.
So, I mean, let's talk about Greenland, okay? Because what we've seen in the press recently is a little bit of political wrangling. We've seen some permits declined over on the west side of Greenland, and I guess that's got a few people nervous. Do they want miners in Greenland?
Yeah, it's a question that I receive frequently. I'm grateful you brought it up. And that was really one of our key motivations for getting over to Greenland as early as possible. So we were there in early May, and that was to meet with the government. But our experience has been quite the opposite to what you hear in the mainstream media, is that we, with our permits, our applications, and this was during the process where there wasn't an election in Greenland, is that it went through smoothly. If there was no election, we wouldn't be aware of any difference, to be honest. It was business as usual. And then having been in Greenland, and so we had to, when we arrived, we had to travel through Nuuk, the capital. We did our 5 days quarantine there, and we were on one of the first flights into the country that was allowed for general travel. We didn't need a special exemption. So that opportunity we took to meet with the government and many different government officers as well. And it was really, we had no requests or demands as we were fully permitted, but we did take the opportunity to meet with them to elaborate on our plans and then also to hear their feedback face to face. And so meeting with the MLSA, which is the licensing authority for minerals in Greenland, as usual, their enthusiasm was there and very supportive of our operations. We also met with the municipality that we operate in, and that's the most populous municipality in Greenland. And once again, the enthusiasm there was extremely strong and very encouraging. And then meeting with other government representatives, of course, in the taxation department was very supportive of our operations. So really, for us, it was business as usual, and that's the message that we'd like to give to the world. And what the Greenland authorities have asked us to put out is that really business is as usual in Greenland. Yeah, I mean, there's one project that has taken the headlines, but otherwise, if there is no uranium in the portfolio, it appears that the enthusiasm remains very strong.
Okay, so it was a uranium issue, not a mining issue.
That's how it appears, most definitely. So it was always talked about that particular commodity, whereas for us, looking for copper, nickel, base metals, precious metals, there was never any real concern with that. And then also, I think that what benefits us as being on the east coast of Greenland, we're in a very sparsely populated area as well. So we don't have the potential social or environmental issues either. So for us, it was very well received.
Okay. Well, look, I want to get into the projects. Obviously, you've got Ryberg and Mestersvig, which I think more prominent than Sortecup. I guess we can talk about. But can we just start with a slight outlier, which is in Australia? You've got a cobalt project in Australia. What are you doing with it?
It's under active review at the moment. So that was the existing Conico asset prior to the acquisition of Longland, and Longland being the company that I founded that had the Greenland assets. And so with Mt Thirsty, it's finished its pre-feasibility study. It's one of Australia's more advanced cobalt-nickel projects. And it's under active review. So I think that there's no hiding the issue for that one. We need to see a slight increase again in the metal prices, particularly with cobalt. But already cobalt is tracking quite nicely. So it really is on our radar. It's not something that we've neglected, but we're actively looking at options for that particular project. And hopefully there's something that's not too far away. It really is the price of the metals is very encouraging.
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of people are very excited about cobalt and the conversations that are being had with battery manufacturers around the world. I'll be interested to see how you progress that. But right, parked up for now, keeping your options on the table. Let's talk about the project Ryberg and what you're doing there, because you talk about approvals being given for a field season. So what exactly are you allowed to do, and what will you be doing?
Yeah, sure thing. So the standard process in Greenland is that you must apply each season for your approvals. It's very normal. And so it's really, as you can appreciate, with a very large country, they want to understand what it is that's actually occurring in their country. It's not a project that you can just pop over and visit. So for us, what we've got is, so I'm currently in Iceland, and this is our staging point to go to Ryberg. So we have a vessel that is literally about 4 kilometers from where I'm sitting right now. And we've started to receive all of the equipment that's been coming in. So the key pieces of which are the diamond drill rigs. We have 3 of those, and we've already received the first consignment of the drilling. We've then got a geophysics helicopter coming in as well. So that one to be flying a magnetic survey. So really at Ryberg, the big thing is that we'll be drilling the existing electromagnetic anomalies that we have, and where there's mineralization at surface. And that's in the form of magmatic sulfides. And so we're looking at copper and nickel there. And associated with that, there is some cobalt as well. You've also got palladium, quite a decent concentration of palladium, and then gold with that also. So that's the priority for us, is looking at that large, potential large-scale magmatic sulfide project. And we'll be taking the drill rigs there at the end of this month. So the vessel will be departing Reykjavik. It will have everything on board: personnel, equipment, fuel. Will be going in, and we'll be there for the best part of 3 months. So for us, our intention is to stay until the end of September.
Okay, you raised about 3.3 million a few months ago, obviously to allow you to do this. But how much of that is going on getting there, setting up, and allowing yourself to work there? And how much is actually going to be, data coming from either at surface or underground with the drilling?
Yeah, so we've so this year being the first big season that we're having there, I guess the capital costs are slightly greater than they would be had you been there for a few years operating with this type of activity. So we did have to front end load it with things like, a good example is fuel. We had to bring in more fuel than we would normally be required to bring in, so that enables us the opportunity to start earlier next year. We've also got an option with the drill contract to keep the drill rigs on site, so that we can use them again earlier next year. So with that, it does come with a slight premium, I guess, for this first year. But then after that, it gets successively cheaper and easier, everything being on site.
Right. Okay. So what's the population of Greenland? Just
56,000 people.
Okay.
And the nearest people to our project are in Ísafjörður, which is a city in Iceland.
Yeah. No, I was looking at this, and obviously Norway has a say in all of this too.
Not so much the Norwegians, but there's a bit of history there. Yeah.
There's a bit of history, yeah. I was about to say, how influential are they? So, okay, so so in terms of people, though, you're bringing people in from where? Where's the team from?
Yeah, the team. So dominantly from Iceland. We lean very heavily on this country. We then have the drill crew is coming from Canada. So experienced drill company there, Cartwright Drilling. They've been operating in Greenland for a long time. I've actually used them in the past, even going back to 2010. So they know this neck of the woods extremely well. The helicopter, we're using a company called NRG, and that's coming from South Africa. So it's a contingent coming from there. And then, yeah, myself as the token Englishman.
Okay, good. Okay, so I want to come back to the budget component here. Is like you say, you're having to buy more fuel, and it's going to be a little bit more expensive for the front end to kind of get this thing set up. So at the end of this field season, how much data? What do you expect to be able to come back and tell the market?
My greatest anticipation for this year is that we'll be drilling these targets for the first time. We've done multiple passes of geophysics over them. We've seen the sulfides at surface. Some of them are the size of a football. We know that there is a mineralized system there. So my best hope for this year is that when we drill, is that proving those EM targets, that they do truly represent magmatic sulfides and decent concentrations of them. That coupled with the high resolution aeromagnetics, we've then be able to license wide, have a better idea of what we're playing with. So the area that we're drilling represents less than 5% of the total licensed area. So we've got about 4,500 square kilometers. We've taken out the entire prospective area for these magmatic sulfides. We're drilling where we did the EM previously. As I say, that's about 5% of the license area. With this high resolution magnetics, we'll then be covering the entire license area. So if we do see anything of interest in there, having 3 drill rigs, we have the ability to then take one of those rigs to go off and test some of these new targets as well. And this is the first time it's been drilled, and it's the first time that most of this license area has seen any form of geophysics. So for an area where you're seeing mineralization at surface, an extensive mineralization at surface, it really is going to open this area up for the first time.
Yeah, it's interesting about how companies of your size, what are you, 25 million pounds ish sort of level, and with a, let's face it, a sort of limited budget initially, a small budget initially, how you go about prioritizing where you spend your money, what you need to come back and tell the market, because it's getting that balance between I need to understand what's happening in the ground and exciting the market about the potential. There's a real kind of there's a real tension to that. So you're focusing on Ryberg, but you've obviously got Mestersvig, and you were telling me before that you've just done a little visit up there. Why did you do that? Why aren't you focused just on Ryberg?
Yeah, look, with Ryberg, it really is the intention that we're doing this work is that we have to show that the entire license area has got that prospectivity, the same as that 5% that we see. And so really it's crucial that we get that geophysics done, which is why we raised the additional capital earlier this year. And then with Mestersvig, well, actually, sorry, before I go into Mestersvig, in that Ryberg project area, there's also another prospect, which is not magmatic sulfides, and this is the Sorticap prospect. And this one, we're seeing gold at the surface there. It's nice to see that gold is having a little bit of a resurgence at the moment. So that one brings that one up in priority for us as well. With that one, we've got gold at surface. We have an IP survey, which is showing a very strong anomaly, and that one will definitely be drilled this year as well. And so that one's exciting. That's orogenic gold, very classic style of mineralization. So we'll see how that comes from the greenstone rocks there. But yes, at Mestersvig, I've just returned. So after I was in Nuuk with my colleague, we then traveled across to the East Coast. We went up to Mestersvig, and it was there that we've just received a second license, which has been granted. So the previous license that we've had, that we obtained at the beginning of last year, that contained the historic lead zinc mine, which is the only operating mine that's ever, or the only mining operation that's ever occurred on the east coast of Greenland. And with that one, we were looking to see if we could find extension of the mineralization But what we also found last year was that, to the south of it, a very large intrusion, and I won't get into too much geological detail because last time you cut me off for doing that. But but this one is really the source of the mineralization, and that's what we've just licensed up. And we took just over 1,000 square kilometers in this area, and it hasn't been explored for the best part of 50 years. Yet there, at surface, the historic work has shown that there's magmatic sulfides, there's rare earth elements, a plethora of different mineralization styles, and it's quite unbelievable that it hasn't been looked at. There's a known a molybdenum sulfide occurrence, which is in a license adjacent to ours. Yet the remainder of the intrusion has not been looked at. So what we did was we were there for a week, and it was really a reconnaissance mission to go and to confirm the findings from the previous explorers. We've taken a bunch of samples that are going off for assay. But in the meantime, it was really a ground truthing exercise. And then the geophysics that we're doing at Ryberg this year, as soon as it completes that job, it's then traveling up north to Mestersvig, and will then blanket that area in high resolution geophysics as well. So really maturing that project up so that hopefully the intention there is at the end of the season, we can then say that that project has indeed advanced and look at possible options for real work there next year.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for that, because like I say, I'm just kind of fascinated about how you can apportion your capital in the best, the most optimum way, the most efficient way, and getting that balance between I know 4 projects, but three in Greenland. Do you look at the market and say, oh crikey, gold's on the up, maybe we do need to spend a bit more time at sort of cap, because that's what's going to give us the best bang for our buck in terms of being able to go and raise capital? Or is it you set your plan out and you go, right, okay, Ryberg's the focus because we're, copper and nickel are on the up as well. Let's just get that message out there, and then we'll bring the other two along, along for the ride, as it were. You know what I mean? It feels like quite a tough one at this stage with the capital that you got to get that balance right. And I just wonder what the discussions are internally.
Yeah, certainly. No, the internal discussions are that we are, Ryberg is the focus. The copper and nickel undoubtedly is the prize that we have, and also the scale of this project we believe to be very significant. At the same time, we've regarded ourselves as the East Greenland explorer, so we have that geographical scope there. But with Mestersvig, finding what we did last year and the potential there to make a new discovery, we think is very high. But in terms of preserving our capital, what we've done this year is that the geophysics having occurred in Ryberg, then taking that equipment up to the north, a lot of the sunks are already cost. So adding a few extra line kilometers to cover that Mestersvig area is a very cost-effective way. Whereas if we were to do it next year, we'd then have to pay once again for the mob and demob costs, etc., and it would be far more expensive. So it was a much better use of our capital, and hence the recent capital raise, to be able to go and do all the work in one hit, because it would be far more cost-effective in the medium term.
So just remind people what you are, because you've got another gig. You got Helium 1. You're a founder there of Helium 1. They're doing really well. They've been on the show a couple of times. Really nice story. I think share price doubled after a recent interview with us. People really like it. The way you interacted with that company is, can we expect to see the same here? Are you just an explorer and then you'll bug out, or is it actually, I think we can take this a little bit further because the potential's whatever you think the potential is?
Yeah, look, Helium 1, it was fantastic. So my colleague Josh Blewett and I, we founded that company back in 2015, and I couldn't be happier to see the stage that it's at now. And it is quite a coincidence that here we are. So with Longland Resources, founded this company as well. And for them both to be at the same time with the major drilling program is most unexpected, but it is beyond exciting. And I think that with Helium 1, we got that company to a point where we got the resource, with the commodity that nobody knew anything about, with a jurisdiction that was difficult for a decent period of time there, whilst I was at the helm of the company. But then when the fortunes started to improve and the company moved forward, a very capable team was there as well, and it became a very logical moment for me then to move and transition to this role with Conico, and to really further this asset. And so it was a logical progression, and with this one now, yeah, definitely I have no intentions of moving. This one to me is incredibly exciting. I guess just like Helium 1, here we are drilling a major prospect for the first time, and this could really open up an entirely new district in Greenland, and for that I want to be a part of it.
So how long is this drill season? And at the end of the drill season, you reassess what you've got, what you know, and how you move forward. So first of all, when was that point in time?
So we'll be there until the end of September, but we do have the option of going further than that. Should we get the positive results? We know that with further north at Mestersvik, the old mine that was there, that operated for 11 months a year in the 50s, and we've got drill reports from December. So really, if they could drill in the 50s in December, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to push ourselves somewhat. So yeah, we've got the option there.
I need to ask you about some share options that were issued recently, about 10 million of them. Why did you guys feel the need to do that?
Yeah, so the 10 million options, so they're split evenly between myself and our operations manager. They were just issued by the board of Conico. Well, obviously very grateful for that. The reason being, I think that the board has acknowledged the work that we've put in and the commitment that we've put in this year. So with the coronavirus pandemic, it has been challenging, but I take a great deal of pride that we were able to get all of our permits in ahead of time, and that we are very organized. So I think that with the ability that internally, between myself and Hoskudor, that we were able to get everything accomplished without the need for external consultants and the additional cost that comes with those. Then also, really, we're going to be in the field the entire season without break. And this year, I'll be away from my family for more than 7.5 months. Hopefully they still recognize me by the time it's finished. So I think that the board has acknowledged the work that we put in, the success that we've received to date, and that's why those share options have been issued.
Do you think that was a fair price to issue them? I know you need to be incentivized, but do you think 4p was the right number?
Yeah, look, it's 4 cents. And,
4 cents,
it is.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Look, it's there, but I think that we haven't received any options in the company in the past ever. These are the first ones that have gone to myself and to my colleague as well. And so perhaps the price of the shares reflects that. Since Conico has acquired Longland, this is the first time we've been given options. So perhaps with the value that's already been reflected in the company's share price, that may be a factor in the pricing of the options.
Okay, so what's your message to people? Story's just starting out. Follow us, see what we do, maybe invest. Is that the idea?
Yeah, look, that's it. I mean, it's that we are an exploration company, but this year out of all the years, and this is why, is that with the drilling, this could really be a big game changer for the company. So should we drill and we get those decent intercepts? I mean, you look at other companies that have been looking for copper and nickel sulfides, and what's happened to their share prices once they've made that initial discovery. And that's the stage that we're at right now. So should this work, is that we'd see, hopefully a good re-rating of the company's value.
Okay, well, Thomas, I appreciate you making time to tell us the story. I guess you're rushing to put your boots on and get out there in the field, are you?
Yeah, that's right. So at the moment, it's a lot of running around, and we'll be leaving at the end of this month. So it's come incredibly quickly, and I'll be there for the duration of the field season. We've got a good internet connection whilst we're out there as well, so we will be keeping everybody up to speed with our process. And then also now that the coronavirus restrictions in Greenland have lifted quite significantly, so we can get people to fly directly to our site. So should we get that discovery, then perhaps I'll give you a call, Matt, and you can come out and do the next interview on the east coast of Greenland with us.
Oh, well, don't offer those things. You think I won't take you up on that offer? Seriously. Hey, so just on that, actually, what's happening in Iceland? Is the restrictions coming off there? Are people able to enter the country easily? I'm asking for holiday reasons, quite frankly. Just so
it seems to be one of the few green countries in Europe now, and people are really taking advantage of it. So now the latest reports are they're going up to about 4,000 people entering the country a day for tourism purposes. So Iceland is well and truly open for business, and with the volcano just down the road, it's a magnificent place to come and visit. So highly recommended for your summer holiday, Matt.
Beautiful. Okay, Thomas, I appreciate it. I like what you're doing there. Stay in touch. Let us know how you get on. Okay.
Thank you very much for having me again.